The Dodgers take on the Giants, who are trying to ride the wave of a stunning Saturday night comeback to a strong finish in baseball's final weeks. Trailing 4-0, the Giants got late solo homers from Buster Posey in the 7th, Edgar Renteria in the 8th, and Pat Burrell right after. That set the stage for the unsung Juan Uribe. Now the pitch.
Slider, there's a shot! Deep into left center field, and Juan Uribe crushes one into the bleachers, and the Giants have gone ahead in the 9th inning.
The Giants held on for a 5-4 win, moving still closer to first place San Diego in the National League West. For the Dodgers, a crushing defeat with their playoff hopes already faint. But win tonight's game, and they'll take the series from their bitter rivals and slow the Giants' run toward the postseason. It is a perfect night to be out of doors in Southern California. Perfect baseball weather. The Giants and the Dodgers, those two longtime antagonists in the rubber match of their series. The Padres, incredibly, have lost again. They had the best record in the league. Now they can't beat anybody. 10 straight losses for the Padres. The Rockies beat them. For the Giants at the moment, just a game and a half behind them. Colorado, only 4.5 out. And the Dodgers are still on the periphery. Not dead just yet. Hello, everyone. I'm John Miller, along with the Dodger legend, the ace right-hander, Orel Hershiser. Are you okay?
I'll be all right.
Wow. He is broadcast and heard, folks. And the Hall of Fame second baseman, one of the all-time greats of the game, Joe Morgan. Welcome to Sunday Night Baseball. Now, the Giants have gained 5 games in the standings on the first place Padres in just the last 10 days, but they haven't really been playing that well. Some of their top hitters, Aubrey Huff, Andres Torres, Pat Burrell, have been slumping all at the same time. But the rookie catcher, Buster Posey, has been the Giants' constant in the lineup. A top Rookie of the Year candidate, Posey began last night's comeback with that tape measure home run, Joe.
Well, John, that's not new news. He's been a big part of the Giants' offense since he was called up May 29th. He's an all-around talent who has made an immediate impact both at first base and as a catcher. He started 80 of 85 games since he's been up. He's hit .328 batting average, but he's also hitting .389 against the National League West. But the big thing that he's brought to this ball club is clutch performance. He's hitting .357 with runners in scoring position. And all the offense he's brought, I think defensively he's going to be a Gold Glove winner before it's all over.
We'll get a long look at him here tonight. Posey and the Giants will be up against Dodger right-hander Hiroki Kuroda. Kuroda has been sensational since the All-Star break. He had a no-hitter going into the 8th inning this past Monday against the Phillies. Left-hander Jonathan Sanchez, meanwhile, will go for the Giants. And Orel Sanchez has also been outstanding at times. He was terrific this past Monday in his most recent start.
Yeah, against Colorado, he was absolutely fantastic. But the thing about Jonathan Sanchez, he needs to build consistency. He hasn't gone back-to-back quality starts since his second and third outings of this year. That consistency is lacking. The production is there. He has a no-hitter in his young career at 27 years old. You think about it, he's 10th in the National League in strikeouts. He's 3rd in batting average against, but he's 2nd in most walks. So there's inconsistency there. At 9-8 with a 3.5 ERA, he has to build a toolbox to fix himself on the mound. Stay away from the big innings. Stay away from the bad outings. The Giants need consistency, especially when the value of the games now are so high with this pennant race.
So, it is a big one. The Giants can move to within a game of the Padres if they can win this one against their arch rivals. Hiroki Kuroda will try and see that they don't. He's headed in for the bullpen. And the Giants and Dodgers ready to renew that rivalry right after this.
the Bun. And in part by ING. Your number. Find it at ingyournumber.com.
Perfect night here to be at the ballpark in Southern California. The Giants and the Dodgers. Tim Lincecum in the picture there. And Bruce Bochy, the manager of the Giants. He is trying to rally his ball club to the top in the National League West. With a win tonight, they'll just be one game out. Here's the batting order turned in by manager Bochy, presented by Taco Bell. Andres Torres leads off in center field. Mike Fontenot at second base, the former Cub. Aubrey Huff at first base. Pat Burrell in left field hitting cleanup. Buster Posey, the catcher. Jose Guillen, the veteran, in right field. Pablo Sandoval is at third base, batting seventh. Juan Uribe at short. And Jonathan Sanchez is the pitcher, batting ninth.
And John, unsung hero for the Giants, especially in last night's ball game, Juan Uribe. He hit the game-winning home run. And in fact, 10 of his 18 home runs have either tied the game for the Giants or put them ahead. So he has been a big part of this Giants offense, although he's hitting 8 tonight. So maybe he'll do something from that spot.
So Kuroda with the long shadows of the late afternoon, and the shadows have already advanced right to the pitching slab on the middle of the pitcher's mound. And as we've seen in the past, this can be an awfully tough place to hit. The visibility is very poor for a hitter early on here.
Yeah, West Coast 5 o'clock starts are tough for hitters in the first 3 innings. And Kuroda, a 6-pitch guy, that his last outing was one of his most outstanding as a Dodger, and he mainly went with his two-seam fastball and his cutter. He also can throw an occasional split finger. He's got a slider and a curveball, but he is on a roll. His last 5 starts, 7 innings or more.
Kuroda on the mound, starting, as you saw there, in the sunshine, and then finishing as he throws the pitch in the dark shadows. The Dodgers on the field defensively with an outfield of Reed Johnson, Gold Glover, Matt Kemp in center, Andre Ethier in right, Casey Blake and Jamie Carroll on the left side of the infield, Rafael Furcal with a night off, Ryan Theriot, another former Cub, at second, James Loney at first. Rod Barajas, just recently acquired. He had been with the Mets earlier this year. And he is back home catching Kuroda. And Kuroda was never better than in his last start against the defending National League champion Phillies. It was Monday right here at Dodger Stadium. And he went into the 8th inning having not allowed a hit. And Kuroda was just blowing the Phillies away all night long. Until with 1 out of the 8th. Shane Victorino got the base hit. And that was the only hit allowed by Kuroda. Finally, Joe Torre went out and got it. Since the All-Star break, in 9 starts, he has limited the opposition to a batting average of only 193. That's the 3rd lowest batting average against for any pitcher in all of Major League Baseball. But it hasn't necessarily translated into victories. The Dodgers have supported him so poorly. He has a losing record since the All-Star break. 3 wins, 4 losses. And a first pitch strike, a fastball in there to Andres Torres. Torres, 32 years old and having a breakout year. He is second in Major League Baseball behind the Phillies' Jason Worth in doubles. He's also got 14 homers, 60 batted in. And that's on the inside corner. And the count is 0-2.
Well, we've already seen Kuroda use his two-seamer that tailed away from the left-handed hitter Torres, and then comes inside with a 4-seamer. Both sides of the plate, both very accurate.
Changeup struck him out. 3 pitches and gone.
3 pitches, 3 different looks. A 2-seamer away, a 4-seamer in, and then a little splitty that the bottom drops out of. I'll tell you what, the action on this pitch, after throwing 2 pitches the exact same height on 2 different sides of the plate, and then to have one drop that much at 86 miles an hour, about a 5-mile-an-hour difference, but a huge difference in height in that pitch.
The Torres gone. Here is Fontenot. Fontenot, the Giants' second baseman tonight, playing opposite his longtime friend and longtime teammate, Ryan Theriot. They were teammates with the Cubs, including the first half of this year, and also before that were teammates at LSU in college. Won a College World Series together. Fontenot thrown out by Jamie Carroll. The Giants have 2 down with nobody on. Now Aubrey Huff. And Aubrey Huff, who has been a key man for the Giants, he's the home run and RBI leader for San Francisco. But he starts play tonight with only 3 hits in his last 32 at-bats. Kuroda did not face the Giants earlier this year. He has not faced him since last year when he won a couple of games against him. And there's the backdoor slider for a called strike.
He's emptying the whole kitchen sink here so far in the first inning, showing all the different pitches.
And there's that splitter again. 0-2 the count to Aubrey Huff. But Kuroda come out as a strike throwing machine here. Although, again, some of that is he's very good. Some of it, I suppose, is the visibility is poor for a hitter. This is only his 8th pitch of the inning. And another splitter in the dirt on the inside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Giants have been struggling at the plate. Many of the Giants' top hitters slumping. Andres Torres only 4 for his last 30, including his strikeout here. As we said, Huff 3 for 32. Pat Burrell, who's on deck, 11 for his last 59, a 186 average. And last night's hero, Juan Uribe, still only his 3rd hit in his last 23 at-bats. And the pop-up. Casey Blake in foul ground has room. And the Giants are going quickly and quietly. A 9-pitch inning for Kuroda. So he picks right up where he left off in his great start against the Phillies. Sanchez heads to the mound. The Dodgers coming up. Number 8, the Dodgers hitting instructor. There's manager Joe Torre. And here is the batting order. Devised by Joe Torre, presented by Taco Bell. Jamie Carroll leads off at shortstop. Ryan Theriot is at second base. Andre Ethier, right field. Matt Kemp, the center fielder. Casey Blake at third base, batting fifth. James Loney hits sixth at first base. Rod Barajas, the catcher, and Reed Johnson in left field hitting eighth, and Hiroki Kuroda is on the mound batting ninth. And Jonathan Sanchez, 27-year-old lefty, throws a first pitch fastball for a strike to Jamie Carroll. Sanchez has only 9 wins. An earned run average is pretty good, and his hits allowed for his innings pitched are sensational.
His batting average against .215 is third in the National League. He's been outstanding as far as stuff. It's the consistency they're looking for, and it's that effectively wild pitcher that sometimes gets so wild he hurts himself.
157 and 2/3 innings pitched, only 124 hits allowed. And the breaking ball bounced foul back behind the plate. It's 0-2.
Well, Johnny, he's 0-5 against the Dodgers. Matt Cain got his first victory ever against the Dodgers recently, and maybe Sanchez can get started. But, I mean, when you look at a guy like Sanchez, you have to realize because he walks a lot of guys, because he strikes out a lot, he throws a lot of pitches early in the ballgame, and that's why he doesn't finish what he starts, because his pitch count gets up very high because of those two things, strikeouts and walks.
1-2 the count to Carroll. You mentioned Matt Cain. He got his first win against the Dodgers on Sunday Night Baseball on August 1st in San Francisco. On the inside corner with a fastball. Strike 3 call.
Well, one of the things Jonathan Sanchez has been working on is backing off and not overthrowing. Early in his career, he fluxed between the bullpen and as a starter. Then he's finally settling in as a starter, especially since his no-hitter last year, just before the All-Star break. Now that he's been a starter, more like a pitcher, not a thrower. And the more he is like that, the better he gets.
Ryan Terrio, fastball in there for a called strike. Dodgers like what they've seen from Terrio. There's a lot of talk that they like to install him as their regular second baseman for some time to come. There is Uribe. Terrio is gone. And 2 down. And now the Dodger power will come up. Andre Ethier with Matt Kemp on deck. And these guys, the big Dodger hitters, have not been hitting very well since the All-Star break. The Dodgers are 8 games under 500 since the break. 20-28. They've had 2 different 6-game losing streaks since the All-Star break, and they've averaged less than 3.5 runs per game in that time. And the big 3 sluggers, the 3 young guys out of the farm system, Ethier, Kemp, and Loney, none of the 3 has really done a whole lot since the All-Star break. Ethier, who had a great start to this season, all of the talk about Albert Pujols, Joey Votto, the Triple Crown, and now Carlos Gonzalez is in that discussion. When the season began, it looked like Andre Ethier was a clear candidate beyond anybody and everybody for the Triple Crown, for the MVP. But then he got hurt, the freak injury during batting practice where he broke the little pinky finger on his right hand, and really has not been the same since.
Well, John, baseball is a great, great sport, but there are a lot of difficult situations you have to overcome before you become a big star. I mean, when Ethier started this season, it looked like he was going to have that breakout season we were talking about, be one of the great players in the game and in the National League. But when he hurt his pinky finger, you go on a disabled list, you feel like, okay, I'll come back and pick it up. But it doesn't happen that way. And it took him a long time to get his timing back, and he has struggled second half.
And he continues. Struggles right here against Sanchez, swinging at a fastball. High. Strong first inning for both pitchers in the shadows. Pat Burrell, then Buster Posey coming up with the Giants. Dodger Stadium. Chavez Ravine, just up above downtown Los Angeles. Second inning, Hiroki Kuroda to the Giants cleanup man, Pat Burrell. And it's 0-1. Burrell, who was wondering himself if maybe his career was over when the Tampa Bay Rays released him earlier this year. Slider just off the outside. A ball and a strike. His hometown team, the Giants, had a need, came calling, signed him to a minor league contract. He went to Fresno, their AAA team. Got his timing back, and they brought him up, and he has done well for the Giants, both in the lineup, but also as a veteran presence in that clubhouse, a guy who's been through pennant races before in his time with the Phillies.
Well, he also was a teammate of Aubrey Huff's at the University of Miami, and they got to know each other very well. And
there is Kuroda, and he'll handle it himself over to Loney, and that's all for Burrell. One away.
And Huff was saying that he learned a lot from Burrell while he was in college, and now he continues because Burrell is teaching him how to be a leader. He said Burrell always tells you what you need to know, not what you want to know. And that works out pretty well for a guy that's been around and been in pennant races. It can really help a lot of these young players on the Giants team.
Not this time for Burrell. He's gone, and now the rookie Buster Posey comes up. Posey hitting .328 in his rookie season. And the fastball is up and away. Last night, the Giants had only one hit against Ted Lilly into the seventh inning, and Posey hit this tape measure shot. After sunset at Dodger Stadium, he hit one halfway up into that pavilion in left field. That is a pretty good shot. And that was on left center field.
But what you see when you watch Posey hit, he doesn't overswing, and that's why that ball went to left center instead of down the line. He never seems to overswing. He keeps his balance well throughout the swing. Chases one up and out of the strike zone, but that's what impresses me. He has learned to adjust to what the pitcher does to him. Last year when he came up, he was not ready. He struggled at the end of the season, but he went back down, and I mean, he made a big change from the end of last season to May 29th.
Just off the outside, 3-1 to Posey.
It was a very impressive home run last night to hit it up there, 15 rows here at Dodger Stadium left center. Like John said, that's a big deal when the sun goes down here in Los Angeles because it drops about 15 degrees and the ball does not carry very well.
Posey becomes the first base runner of the game, getting a walk. Posey only 23 years old. Giants first round selection in the 2008 player draft. He was the Golden Spikes Award winner in college that year. They thought he was going to be on a fast track, and that has proved to be the case. Out of Florida State, Buster Posey.
But they could not have anticipated him being this good this quickly.
Here is Jose Guillen, acquired from the Kansas City Royals. Chases the high fastball. He struck out 4 times last night, 3 times looking against Ted Lilly, and once swinging against Jonathan Broxton.
Well, that'll usually earn you a day off.
And usually that's odd for him to strike out looking because he usually leaves the batter's box or the on-deck circle swinging.
He made contact there. So already an improvement over last night.
Just foul balls now we're cheering for, huh, John? I'll tell you what, he is a dangerous hitter. As a pitcher, when you face him, he might be in a slump, he might look bad at the plate, but in one pitch, one swing, he can turn one around. And there are a lot of hitters that 1 for 4 can hurt you, and he's one of them.
17 homers, 67 RBIs for the year for Guillen. And the slider just off the outside. He has not hit for power with the Giants, however. Not so far, anyway. This is his 18th game with the Giants. He's had 56 at-bats and 1 homer, 1 double. That's it for the extra base hits. His average for the Giants is .304.
He has always been a very good hitter, though. And he's been a good RBI man his entire career.
Kuroda working very slowly now. Guillen takes time, backs away.
Yeah, that free swinging tendency, Joe. He's always been a guy who's put ball in play in those key situations. Man on third, less than 2 outs. He can get you that productive out, productive run.
his splits with the Giants and with the Royals before that. And that will move Posey into scoring position. What happened there? Corona's right around the strike zone, and with every pitch, and suddenly he's nowhere. He was not within 2 feet of the strike zone.
They got to be a split finger fastball that gets caught up in his fingers with the grip pressure. See our super slow-mo from low third, an exceptional view of what's going on in his mechanics, leading with his hips. The shoulders are closed. Has really good balance. One thing we don't see all the time is that kick leg that straightens out like that. But yeah, it's a split finger. You can see with the grip. It just got caught up, and he held on too long.
Is that the Ultramone?
That's unbelievable. That's hard to do color for. You've got to keep thinking of things to say. Let's go back to it. The trajectory of that ball, you think about how much his split has been dropping, which is about 2.5 feet, and the trajectory of that had already started down on such an angle that you could see why he threw it about 55 feet compared to the 60 feet 6 inches it takes to get to the plate.
2-2 the count to Guillen. Posey at second. 1 out. No score. The slider off the outside. Full count now. Sandoval, the switch hitting young third baseman for the Giants, is on deck.
You know, I'd have in the back of my head right now that Guillen struck out looking 3 times if I was on the mound. I would think that I could throw a pitch close that he would not want to strike out looking because of what happened last night.
There's Posey with his lead from second. Fastball up the middle, base hit. Kemp has a very strong arm, and Posey will be held by Tim Flannery. Loney cutting off the throw.
The trouble is he threw a strike, and Guillen hit it right back up the middle. But again, Guillen is such a good hitter. He just goes right back through the middle with that fastball. Fastball away. A beautiful swing right there. Good balance. Good hand action. Look, he used his hands to just drive that ball right back through the middle. That's what he does so well as a hitter. He uses his hands really well.
So now the Giants have runners at first and third. Here is Pablo Sandoval, a man who burst upon the scene in last year, his first full year in the big leagues, hit .330 with 25 homers. But he has not repeated that success this year, not so far.
Well, one of the reasons he hasn't repeated it is because the league knows a little bit more about him, and they do not have to throw him a first pitch fastball for a strike. He will chase pitches out of the strike zones. And you can see that he has really struggled his last 12 at-bats. No hits in his last 12 at-bats, but he swings at a lot of pitches out of the strike zone.
1 ball and no strikes. The middle infield double play depth. Sandoval is grounded into a lot of double plays. And he chases that one. True to form. Fastball well up out of the zone.
The high fastball he chases more than anything else. And there you see what the Giants have done with runners in scoring position. Pablo Sandoval.
He's hitting only .205 in these clutch situations. 109th best in the National League, which is,
that might
say, not very good
pitchers as well.
Not very good.
109.
1-1 the count to him.
He got in on his hands.
Ethier's got a strong arm. Posey's not that fast, but Posey's going to test it. And he is in there. Guillen moves up to second. Ethier threw it all the way through to the plate. And Posey just beat the tag. 1-0 Giants.
Yeah, but Ethier took a long time to get rid of the ball. It's as if he looked to see if he was running. I don't know why it took him so long to release the ball. If he gets rid of it right away, he probably gets Posey. And watch him catch the ball. See, I mean, that takes a long time to get rid of. You're supposed to catch it, transfer it, and throw it, and he did not do that. I'm not sure if the sun was bothering him or he wasn't sure Posey was going to go. But he hesitated there for a split second, and that's all it took.
Now, an appeal to first base by the Dodgers that Guillen left before the catch, and that's denied by Dan Bellino, the first base umpire. So the run scores plus Guillen moving up an extra base, and they'll remove the bat from the hands of Uribe, last night's Giants hero, with his 9th inning home run against Broxton, with Jonathan Sanchez, the pitcher, coming up next. 1-0, the Giants ahead. Going back, another aspect about that throw, it was a strong throw all the way through, but a very high throw. Usually they teach in, I think, any organization that's out there, make a good low throw, maybe on a bounce, it'll get there more quickly than a big high arching throw like that.
It almost seemed like he pushed it. Joe's right. I think he took too long to get rid of the ball, and then when the ball came out of his hand, it almost either slipped or just on the completely wrong trajectory. And you see, any of the little bits that we're talking about would have made a huge difference there at the plate because he was barely safe.
Now Jonathan Sanchez, who has 7 hits and 47 at bats, a 149 average. And it's 0-1. But that's the way they taught it when you were a young guy.
Well, I think if you're 2 outs and he wants to throw it all the way, that's okay. But there was a runner at first, and that was only the 2nd out of the inning.
1 strike to count, and it's high and tight. But you see guys do that when they really think, man, if I give a strong throw all the way through, I can get the guy.
Yeah, well, with 2 outs, it's okay because it does. I mean, if that's the 2nd out,
Posey,
and there's no one on first base, so you go ahead and throw it.
Posey did score on it. The throw is just enough offline. 1-2 the count to Sanchez.
Yeah, if he misses up the third base line and set up on the first base line on that throw too, you've got a lot closer play because the reach back by Barajas took some time.
Ethiop's got a very strong arm. 2 men on for the Giants, 2 down. And the inning ends. Buster Posey drew a 1-out walk, was wild pitch to second, and ultimately scored on the fly ball by Sandoval. 1-0 Giants. The Giants and the Dodgers from Dodger Stadium, Los Angeles, ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan and Oral Hershiser, your Sunday night telecasters. Our 21st season. Sunday Night Baseball every Sunday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Matt Kemp takes a called strike. I think lot of us thought that Kemp was right on the doorstep of becoming a superstar, not just a big star, but a real superstar. But he seems to have regressed a little bit this year.
Well, and that's the question that you have. What happened between this season and last season? You know, I've always said that a lot of guys have a lot of ability, but the question is, how much do they learn after the first year, or where do you go in that direction?
Well, that was ruled a swing. So Matt Kemp is out, number 1, chasing a ball up out of the zone. We may see a lot of that kind of thing more early in this game because of the visibility difficulties and the dark shadows than maybe later in the game. The sun's still shining brightly off that hitter's backdrop. The big tarp, the big black tarp out in center field into the eyes of the hitters. Got a called strike to Casey Blake. Matt Kemp last year, and you see the eyes adjust for that bright background, and it looks a lot darker in the dark area than our cameras make it look.
Well, I know as a pitcher you try and take advantage of it. You try and make the ball start one place and end up another. I know that seems very simple, but you don't want to throw many things that are straight or at least high because it's easier to see. When Kuroda gave up the base hit to Guillen, it was a high fastball, probably the easiest, and it was straight. It might have been at the top of the strike zone, but it was probably the easiest pitch that you could see in this light.
1-2 the count to Blake. And this is badly up and away. 2-2. Talking about Matt Kemp, he had 297 last year. He drove in 101 runs, stole 34 bases, won a Gold Glove. There was very little that he really couldn't do on a baseball field. Cut down his strikeouts. Still, he struck out a lot, 139 times last year. There's the splitter that Sanchez uses as a changeup, and it's a full count now. Matt Kemp, 297 last year, hitting only 253 this year. The RBI total is also down, and more strikeouts already with a month still to play.
Well, that was his 143rd strikeout. So he has regressed as far as that's concerned. But remember, Kemp did not play a lot of baseball early in his athletic career. And what happens is you do not know how to get out of struggles. You know, everything has probably been good, easy for him in the minor leagues, and even so last year in the big leagues. When you have to struggle, you have to learn how to get out of those slumps. You have to go back to fundamentals, et cetera, et cetera. And just a lot of times players aren't able to make that adjustment right away.
The walk to Blake after he was behind in the count, 0-2. Let's go to the studio. Steve Berthiaume for the Sports Center right now.
Well, the one thing you have to watch out for is the Rockies, too. They're starting to come, and they've showed that they can come from behind the last couple of years and play well in September.
2007, they had that amazing run at the end that extended through the Division Series and the League Championship Series. They overtook the Padres at the end of that year. It's now San Diego. Just a game and a half up on the Giants, as Steve mentioned, and 4.5 over the Rockies. The Rockies are coming on strong.
And that loss made the Padres tie a record with the 1932 Pirates for the most consecutive losses by a first-place team. 10 now.
1932. So only 2 teams in history have ever been in first place and lost 10 in a row. Pirates that year at 32 ended up finishing in second place, 4 games behind the Cubs. And the splitter in the dirt, knocked down by Posey. And it's a 2-ball, 1-strike count to Loney with Blake at first.
Bruce Bochy has another team meeting in the near future. That'll be a nice little tidbit for him to use. But they've done that. It's happened to them. They're slumping, and the only other team to do it ended up in second. We might as well overtake them.
Giants are going to ultimately have to beat the Padres themselves.
And that's been very difficult for them to do.
They're 2-9 against the Pods. And they will get a chance to improve that starting Thursday. The Giants go from here to Arizona to take on the D-backs, who themselves have been a very hot team lately. They extended that Padres losing streak earlier in the week. And then the Giants will go from Arizona to San Diego for a 4-game series starting Thursday. And that one got a piece of Loney and then got a piece of the plate umpire, Angel Hernandez. Jonathan Sanchez is all over the place suddenly after getting to an 0-2 count to Blake. And this is part of the aspect of Sanchez game that you were talking about at the beginning of the telecast, Oral. Is looks like Buster Posey is lobbying Angel Hernandez for a foul ball on that rather than a hit batsman.
No, I don't think that's what he's doing. I think he was trying to give him some time, John, because he knows he got a piece of Angel. So you see, here's Joe West going to check him out too. Just trying to get him some little time to regain his composure. A lot of times when a foul tip comes off and hits a catcher, you'll see the umpire go out front, dust off home plate, or do something to take some time to give the catcher a chance to come back. But this ball definitely hits both Loney and then hits Angel Hernandez. It gets Hernandez, looks like, on his right forearm. And there you see it hits Loney first and then goes and hits Angel Hernandez.
So Loney hit by the pitch, 2 men on with 1 man out. And 2 base runners given the Dodgers by Sanchez, a walk and a hit batsman.
And that's after he had started quickly and struck out 3 of the first 4 hitters and had a 1-2-3 first inning.
This is the ghost that's been haunting him all year, the inconsistency, effectively wild. But really, this is just general wildness now. Where does it come from?
And he did not get the call on that one on the inside. 1 ball, 1 strike to Barajas. Barajas grew up a Dodger fan. He always dreamed of playing for the Dodgers. He started this year with the Mets and was awarded to the Dodgers in a waiver claim with Russell Martin getting hurt. He got a hip injury. That's right back to Sanchez. A lob to second one, and Uribe doubles up Barajas to end the inning. The inning is over. On to the third. Top of the order with the Giants against Kuroda, Torres, Fontenot, and Huff. Stadium. The Giants getting a run of the second and a sacrifice fly by Pablo Sandoval. The Dodgers head to San Diego right after this game. And a crushing loss last night for the Dodgers because they had a 4-0 lead. Their pitcher, Ted Lilly, had a 1-hit shutout going into the 7th inning. And this is their chance right now. Their hopes are faint, but the idea was to beat the Giants head-to-head go to San Diego and continue the Padres' miseries. And suddenly the Dodgers might find themselves actually in the race. But they were not able to hold that lead last night. A crushing defeat for the Dodgers. And yet the Padres continue to lose. The Dodgers began the day 8 games behind San Diego. So, but to suffice it to say, if they're going to have any prayer, they need to win tonight. They need to go to San Diego and dismantle the Padres. 0-1 the count to Andres Torres. Hiroki Kuroda on the mound. Kuroda having an excellent year, but he has a losing record. Splitter in the dirt. A ball and a strike. Kuroda with a 3.39 earned run average, and yet 10 wins, 11 losses.
Not real good support from the bullpen. If you look at these two teams, compare them offensively, defensively, and then you look at the pitching staffs, they look pretty even, but it's the bullpen. The Dodger bullpen is almost a point higher than the Giant bullpen. And so you look at two teams that maybe you say, okay, it's a mediocre division in the National League West. Who's going to rise to the top and win this? And it comes down to little things, and a bullpen can kill you.
1-2 the count to Andres Torres.
I still think the Dodgers, overall, their real problem has been their offense. You know, we can look at the defense,
right.
You can look at the start rotation, you can look in the bullpen, but their offense has just been horrendous. You know, last year they averaged 4.8 runs a game. Now they're down to 4.3. That's a half a run a game more. That may not seem like a lot to a fan, but that's a lot over the course of a season.
But the Giants are only scoring 0.1 run more per game. So, I mean, it's to compare the two teams, you know.
Well, the Giants were never an offensive-minded team. I mean, seriously, but I think they have actually, Brian Saban has actually put together a pretty good offense on occasion. It's just the consistency is just not there.
Mike Fontenot after the strikeout of Torres. Fontenot grounded to short his first time. And there's ball 1.
I think if you look at the Giants, they do not really have a lot of team speed. They're last in the National League in stolen bases. Their defense, to me, is not that good as far as range and stuff is concerned. But they do catch the ball, you know, when you get a chance, but they just do not have a lot of range as far as their defense is concerned. And I think that's one of the other things that Saban has tried to address. They have more athletes on this team this year than ever before.
Maybe their best athlete is behind the plate.
Yeah, I think you know,
Buster Posey.
Well, he's going to be, as I said before, I think he's going to be a Gold Glove winner. I think he's the real deal. I mean, he can do a little bit of everything, and I think he's going to be a leader in this ball club.
And still learning the art of catching. He has not caught very much. He really turned into a catcher after he got to college. Fontenot is down on strikes.
Well, I was talking about him defensively, and you watch him throughout the game. He doesn't move around a lot behind the plate and give away location. Tom Seaver, who was one of the smartest pitchers I've ever been around, told me he didn't want his catcher moving. So what did he do? He used these as his location targets. He used the shin guards for inside and the right shoulder for inside up. Low and away, he went with the shin guard down, and up and away, he went with the left shoulder. And that kept the catcher from moving around. A lot of times we see catchers move, and that gives away location. The hitter can know what's coming. And when you don't move and you use those targets, it makes a big difference.
Aubrey Huff over the head of Loney down the right field line. Ethier will have to play the carom. And Huff, who fouled out his first time, gets a double. Only his 4th hit in his last 34 at-bats. Giants are hoping to see Huff get hot again. Major League Baseball coverage on ESPN. The hunt for October will continue Wednesday night with a doubleheader. First at 7 Eastern, Evan Longoria and the Tampa Bay Rays take on Big Papi David Ortiz and the Red Sox. Then at 10 Eastern, Andre Ethier and the Dodgers up against Adrian Gonzalez and the first-place Padres. Wednesday Night Baseball is part of the Hunt for October, presented by Lee Jeans on ESPN and ESPN3.com. Pat Burrell and the high slider. 1 ball and no strikes. Burrell trying to not get a run here after the 2-out double by Aubrey Huff, his 31st double of the year. These two former college teammates at the University of Miami. And you were pointing that out, Joe.
The Giants are hitting .211, John, with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. So they have really struggled in those types of situations.
They've scored fewer runs with 2 outs as a percentage of their total than anybody.
Well, if you hit 211, you're not going to score a lot. So
you think that's related to it then?
Yeah, it kind of goes hand in hand.
Blew a fastball right by him.
Well, you know that Aubrey Huff has been the offensive leader all year long. Look at this. See, the knob of the bat leading, that's what a lot of hitting instructors like to see. And look how level that ball is. The swing is through the hitting zone, and then it goes up. It's a nice swing there with his hands. See him roll over after he made contact. You don't use that top hand until you've already made contact. And then you let it roll on through.
I want you to keep that ultra mode thing going, Joe. I love that.
Well, I think it's good to show how the bat bends when you make contact, as we saw there. It shows you where the ball hits on the bat. It shows you exactly where it hits.
So Huff in scoring position. 3-1 to Pat Burrell. Posey would be next. A foul that would go out of play.
It's about the only way we'll see what you and guys like Ted Williams actually saw when the ball was in flight coming at the bat.
You know, maybe Ted Williams, I couldn't see all that. Well, see, this is almost, look where it hits. Right? You know, players have always said that, 1/16 of an inch on a line drive is the difference between a home run and a line drive to the outfield. That ball was a line drive to the outfield. We could see if he hit that ball just a 1/16 of an inch lower, he probably would have got elevation enough to drive it out, because he hit it right at the sweet spot of the bat. And that's the other thing you see in the super slow, is that where the ball contacts the bat, whether it's hitting toward the trademark, toward the hands, or out toward the end, or solidly like he did right there.
Now listen, super slow-mo, you're not, this is ultra. Well, this is beyond super. That's it for Burrell. Big strikeout, big out for Kuroda, stranding Huff in scoring position. 1-0 Giants as we go to the last of the third.
Bell is brought to you by the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event, now through September 7th at your Lexus dealer.
Sunday night baseball from Dodger Stadium. It's the Giants and the Dodgers, and they've had a lot of heated battles over the years, going back to the 19th century. And one great moment from a Giants point of view was October 3rd, 1982 at Candlestick Park, facing Terry Forster. There was Joe Morgan. He was a Giant in those days, and he broke a 2-2 tie with a home run. And ultimately that eliminated the Dodgers from pennant contention when that game actually ended. And it made Joe Torre's Atlanta Braves. They were in San Diego at the time, the division champions. Reed Johnson, first ball swinging. There is Andres Torres. And Johnson is retired. One away for Sanchez and the Giants. Joe Torre, the first time he guided a team into the postseason, October the 3rd, 82. Atlanta was in San Diego. Then they watched the end of the Giants-Dodger game from the clubhouse. And this is how that game actually ended. And the celebration began down the coast in San Diego in the Atlanta clubhouse. Joe Torre, with his first great success. His ball club, by the way, they weren't in first place, I guess, when it happened. But they actually had an 11-game losing streak that year and still won the division.
And John, I'm still waiting for my case of Dom Perignon from the clubhouse there. I got a call from one of my friends who was on the team, and they were going to send me a case of Dom Perignon, and I'm still waiting for it.
So,
yeah.
Oh. I hope you can get it from a year from back then. That'd be worth a lot of money.
And look at this move by Joe Torre.
Look, he's wasting your case of champagne.
I think that was your bottle, Joe.
Yeah, but that wasn't Dom Perignon.
Oh, okay.
That was some of the pour it on the floor kind of stuff.
Now you're saying, as a Giant and as somebody who grew up in the Bay Area, Giants fan, that the mere satisfaction wasn't enough of beating Tommy Lasorda's Dodgers like that?
Well, it was great. I mean, growing up in the Bay Area and playing for the Giants, but I still would have liked that case. I didn't ask for it.
Well, one of your favorite photos of Tommy is the shot of after your home run, isn't it?
Yeah, Tommy.
They show him in the bench kind of rubbing his head, kind of frowning.
I was looking down. Tommy's sitting in his seats down there, so we may get a shot of him later on. But Tommy and I have become very good friends, as you know. He said he hated the Reds for a while, but there's Tommy.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
He doesn't know he's on camera.
No.
One of the great managers in the history of the game.
Yeah.
He's in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
One of the great ambassadors.
That doesn't look like Slim Fast.
One of the great ambassadors of the game, too, John. And I still think one of the greatest feats ever was when he won the gold medal for the United States.
Yeah.
Coached the U.S. Olympic team.
I mean, I think that was still one of the great feats any manager's ever accomplished, because we were big underdogs.
And one of his proudest accomplishments.
Yeah.
Because it was for the country. And
well,
I think it really said a lot about just how great a motivator Tommy was. Right. He convinced those guys that they could do it when the whole world thought it was impossible.
It wasn't big leaguers. It was minor leaguers that, maybe they could be on a big league contract, but they'd be playing in the minor leagues.
Jamie Carroll with a foul. Two down, nobody on here in the third.
I saw him before he went away, right? We were at an event together, and he said, Joe, by the time I get over there, I'm going to have these guys convinced that they could beat the 1927 Yankees. And, I mean, he did. That was his point. He was going to have them so motivated and believing in themselves that they were going to get the job done, and guess what? He was right.
0-2 the count to Carroll. He struck out looking against Sanchez his first time. The splitter into right field. Base hit. Carroll going to keep on going to second. Guillen gets it back in. A double with two down for Carroll.
You know, every time I see Carroll, I like him even more than the time before. I mean, obviously, this is not a great line drive. Nothing perfect about the swing, except he wasn't going to strike out and he put the ball in play. Pitches down and away. That is a difficult pitch to try to hit. Right on the edge of the strike zone. And this is what we're talking about. Jonathan Sanchez throws a splitter and it's a changeup. That's his version of the changeup. And that was a perfect pitch, and he just flipped it down the right field line. Good job of hitting there.
And now Ryan Theriot to try and knock him in. Check swing foul on the high fastball. Theriot grounded out to short his first time. The former Cub, and he is not a power hitter, but he is a guy who generally puts the ball in play. They need a base hit right now to get the tying run home.
I still believe that one of the reasons the Dodgers offense has lacked consistency is, last year at the beginning of the season they had Orlando Hudson as their second baseman. He brought a lot to the table, more than just defense. He won a Gold Glove, obviously, as a defensive second baseman. But he was hitting 280 plus most of the year, and then he lost his job to Belliard. So they lost some speed and everything else to go along with it there. And he's obviously in Minnesota now doing a good job.
Ball and a strike to Ryan Theriot, whose nickname in Chicago, the Riot. Theriot still very good friends with his opposite number tonight, Mike Fontenot, former Cubs teammates and teammates at LSU. And there's that splitter. It's a foul tip. And the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. It's kind of hard to maintain a friendship when all of a sudden you're not only not teammates, but one of you is a Dodger and one's a Giant.
Yeah, it takes a lot to break that bond of friendship, but it does get turned off as soon as the clock turns game time. The harder part is when it's a pitcher against a fielder and you become good friends when you're teammates, because then you have to actually get him out or get a hit off him.
You were one of those guys who walked on both sides,
for a year.
A great Dodger and also became a Giant. And there's his old teammate, Fontenot. Throws him out. Carroll is stranded. 1-0. The Giants lead the Dodgers. Andre Ethier is stranded on deck there. Buster Posey coming up with the Giants. 1-0 San Francisco. Labor Day weekend, and we send our best wishes for a beautiful, safe, and happy holiday weekend to you and yours. Buster Posey, wow, past Kuroda, and just between and betwixt the shortstop Carroll and the second baseman Theriot, and he got himself a base hit.
Well, that's one of the things that I think he does better now than he did before, and that's stay balanced and go right back through the middle. He'll go to right field, but you see, he just hits the ball right back through the middle. Watch this balance. See how he stays balanced throughout the swing? He never overswings. I don't think I've ever seen him, when he gets 2-0, just swing too hard trying to drive the ball out of the ballpark. I mean, he's going to hit home runs just because he's so strong and he makes good contact.
Now Guillen, that one just misses. 92-mile-an-hour fastball. Guillen, with Posey at second base in the second inning, hit a single. Buster Posey, you see there, Joe, his base hits evenly distributed to all fields.
Well, that's what I see when I watch him hit. I didn't see those numbers, but I know exactly what type of hitter he is.
This is a double play ball. Carroll to Theriot to Loney.
Well, that's not unusual for the Giants. They lead the National League in grounding into double plays. And again, that's a lot of that's because they do not have a lot of overall team speed where they can hit and run and do a lot of things. So when you lead the league in double plays, in my opinion, you need to try to do something.
The Giants have grounded into 136 double plays. They have turned 79. They've grounded into 57 more than they've turned. That's not all the other double plays, the strikeouts into double plays, the line drive. That's just the ground ball double plays. It gets actually a little worse. They've actually, overall, in all double plays together, they've hit 62 or played their way into 62 more double plays than they've turned. I don't know if I've ever seen anything quite like that before.
Well, I think that's just kind of shows what type of team they are. But when they're swinging the bats well, they can put some numbers on the board. That's what's unusual. But it's much more difficult for them to put a rally together because they do not have a lot of team speed.
Pablo Sandoval, who hit a sacrifice fly back in the second inning for the only run of the game. Sandoval doing that on the road where he has suffered this year. At home, he's been almost as good as he was last year. That's into the gap in left center. Up against the wall. Reed Johnson plays it. And Sandoval lumbers into second with a 2-out double.
Well, we saw him swinging a high fastball his first time up. This one is not quite high enough that he can't get to it. You know, the high fastball, you have to keep the barrel of the bat up there. And he's able to do that well. But he likes that pitch up because he swings it a lot. Now watch the barrel. Just watch the barrel of the bat and how it comes to the ball. See, right there he makes contact. That's a nice swing there by Pablo, and he's able to get it. If that pitch is another inch or two up high, he probably either swings and misses or pops it up. He was swinging a bat really well, John, 10 days ago. I mean, he got really hot when the Reds were in town. I mean, he was getting 3 hits a night and driving in runs. He had a real good spell there where he got up to 270. Now, all of a sudden, the whole team is struggling.
He's back on the road again. Sandoval, as they walk Uribe intentionally with the pitcher coming up. Sandoval this year has hit 336 at AT&T Park in San Francisco, which is generally considered a pretty good pitcher's ballpark. 336 he's hitting there. On the road coming into play tonight, 207.
That's too big of a discrepancy. That's too big of a range. That's beyond baseball as far as the probabilities of, it could just be bad luck. There's something going on, either preparation or rhythm or the way he sees the ball on the road. You'd have to find some other reasons for that big a difference.
Jonathan Sanchez, who struck out his first time with 2 men on. They walked Uribe to get to him then, and have done so again here. And he's had a whole lot of swinging and missing going on against Kuroda.
Those kind of splits are what you used to see from teams in Colorado before they put the ball in the refrigerator. At home, they would hit for such high averages, and on the road, they would struggle.
Not a refrigerator, a humidor.
Well, refrigerator.
Close enough.
Yeah, refrigerator.
Before they put the ball in a sauna.
Down. Yeah.
Not cool it down.
Yeah.
Keep the moisture from leaving the ball.
Right.
Keep it humidified. They have a humidor.
Well, it doesn't travel as far.
We just see the ball and hit it, John. We don't care what moisture's in it.
Yeah.
You would if you were still pitching.
That's true. I'd want it to be waterlogged.
Because what was happening was the ball was in the dry air at that altitude, was getting extremely hard. The moisture would leave, and it would also lose a significant amount of its weight. Sanchez down on strikes to end the inning. 6 strikeouts for Kuroda. 1-0 Giants. In 60 seconds, we'll visit with Giants manager Bruce Bochy from the dugout. Inning, the big hitters coming up for LA, and we are joined now by veteran Giants manager Bruce Bochy. Welcome to Sunday Night Baseball, Boch.
Hey, thanks, John.
Bruce, this is Oral. I'd love to talk to you about on the mound tonight. He's been very consistent, but his biggest problem has normally been for Jonathan the inconsistency. What do you see in the difference when he's on his game or when he's off?
Well, when Johnny's on his game, he stays in his delivery. He doesn't overthrow. Sometimes he tries to add a little too much, and he'll leave the zone then, and then he becomes his own worst enemy. But he's staying in his delivery right now, which is a good thing for us.
Buster Posey's made a huge impact as a rookie on your club. What is the biggest surprise for you've seen from him?
Well, I think just the way he's been handling his staff. It's not an easy staff. He's come up here. He's had that sense of belonging right away, and he's done a great job with them. But with the bat, he's done even more than we expected. Had a tremendous July. He can hit, flat out hit, and he hasn't stopped.
And speaking of hitting, Boch, a lot of the Giants' top hitters have not been hitting lately. Is that going to end, or do you see anything happening that indicates that maybe the slump is about to end for some of these guys?
Well, you're hoping a game like last night, John, gets them going. That's a great comeback for us. We had some big home runs there by our big guys, and that's what it's going to take for us, to have some success here down the stretch. But we do depend on them, so it's up to really them to get it going.
Bruce Bochy, many thanks.
You got it, John. Thanks.
Bruce Bochy, former Padres manager and for many years manager of the Padres, now managing the Giants. And there's ball one from his left-hander, Jonathan Sanchez, to Andre Ethier. Ethier, the third place hitter. He'll be followed by Matt Kemp and Casey Blake. So the Dodgers' power post-Manny. It's the post-Manny Wood era of Dodger baseball. The era didn't last that long, really. A couple of years ago, he played the last 2 months and set the world on fire here in Southern California. There have been very few times in the history of baseball where one guy was as hot as Manny was the last 2 months of 2008. And the foul. It's 2-1 to Ethier. Then last year, the 50-game suspension for the violation of baseball's performance-enhancing substance rules. And not quite the same Manny. And then this year, Manny, the way Joe Torre put it, unable to play the field on a regular basis any longer. And he had a long string of injuries, now with the White Sox. 3-1 the count to Ethier.
I think the downfall came when he was suspended for 50 games. I think that seemed to me that he got disconnected from the team at that point. When he came back, it wasn't the same energy that he had the years before. And I think a lot of these guys found it difficult to idolize him as they did before. The guys who felt like he had been caught with his hand in the cookie jar. So I don't think he had the same impact on these young players that he had when he first came over here from Boston.
Well, he was a guy who produced in those first 2 months with the Dodgers as Ethier in the right field with topspin and Guillen. One away. That'll bring up Matt Kemp. Monday night, catch a season-defining game for two top 10 teams as third-ranked Boise State takes on 10th-ranked Virginia Tech. The Broncos and the Hokies. The all-state kickoff in the Capitol as part of Dick's Sporting Goods Kickoff Week on ESPN tomorrow night at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. That's what a great matchup, at least on paper, that is. Boise State. And some people think that maybe that's their whole season, whether they can win that game or not tomorrow night. A ball and a strike to Matt Kemp, who struck out his first time, which goes against form for Kemp against Sanchez. He's made a lot of trouble for Sanchez. He came into the game hitting .450 lifetime against Jonathan. That is out of play. A ball and a strike. He now had 9 hits and 21 career at-bats against Sanchez, including a home run. As we saw, not many guys hit Sanchez that well. He's been one of the toughest pitchers to hit among all starters in the league.
Yeah, 215 batting average against coming in tonight, 3rd in the National League. Outstanding stuff. Just needs to, like Joe talked about, pick up his efficiency, cut down on the walks, because you don't want to cut down on the strikeouts, so those take a few pitches. So cut down on the walks. And earlier in the game, you know, he started to look like he was going to spin out of control. He was able to right the ship. And that was key, but it wasn't his fastball that got him back on it. It was an off-speed pitch that got him back on track.
And another off-speed strikes out Matt Kemp.
Third baseman, number 23.
We see Jonathan Sanchez with the fastball that really started to get erratic after he had retired 3 out of 4 batters in a row, and then all of a sudden, 3 of those batters that he retired were on strikeout. All of a sudden he lost his command, but a little breaking ball got him back. Kind of pushed the throw to second base to start the double play, but got it there accurately, and they were able to turn it to get him out of the jam.
Casey Blake, and it's a strike. Well, that's an interesting point there. All of a sudden, the fastball was going nowhere. Nowhere near where he wanted it to go. Moved to the breaking ball, and there's a breaking ball. Uribe's got a great arm. That's the inning. We head to the 5th, top of the order coming up with the Giants, who lead 1-0. And in 60 seconds, we'll visit with Dodger manager Joe Torre. Nothing, and we welcome Dodger manager Joe Torre to Sunday Night Baseball.
Joe, since the All-Star break, I look at your stats offensively and your pitching. Which has been your biggest problem, the pitching staff or your offense?
Well, I can't say the pitching staff, Joey, because our starters have been terrific, and we've had some games that we let get away from us. We had a game here last night. We had a 4-0 lead. We had a game in Philadelphia. We had a 9-2 lead. The last game in St. Louis, right after the break, we had a lead. We've been having trouble where our bullpen used to be one of our strength as far as the pitching went. It's really sprung a leak here at this point in time. And offensively, coming into the season, we thought we'd be scoring a lot of runs, but it hasn't been the case.
All right, from your mouth, why did you get rid of Manny?
Well, I thought we had more energy with the new acquisitions. Manny in this league really was having some issues with his calf, and we couldn't keep him out there, in my estimation anyway, long enough to make a difference as far as I was concerned.
All right.
Joe, is Quo available tonight if you need him?
No, he is not, John. I shouldn't tell you that because I know you're a Giant guy.
Just between us.
All right.
Joe Torre, many thanks.
Well, I'm glad to hear Torre's explanation.
This is Barajas, and Andres Torres is now 0 for 3. One pitch and out here in the 5th inning.
Well, I'm glad to hear his explanation about Manny because I've read so many different things. You read about attitude, you read about a lot of different things, and that was pretty simple. He's not a National League kind of player, right, at this point. He needs to be someplace where he can DH.
And Manny needs to be completely healthy in his legs when he's playing defense because he didn't cover a ton of ground even when he was completely healthy in his legs. He did not read balls correctly off the bat always, and he didn't run great routes. So he needed all the speed he could get just to be average out there.
Strike one to Fontenot. It really sounded like Joe felt like at his age, having to run all around the outfield night after night was just no way for him to stay healthy any longer. Kuroda covers. Fontenot is retired. Loney to Kuroda. 2 down. And Aubrey Huff will come up. 1-0. The Giants are on top. MLB.TV, baseball everywhere. Get over 100 live out-of-market games per week in HD quality where available on your computer. Visit MLB.TV for details. By the way, the question about Hung-Chi Kuo, who's been the ace late-inning reliever for the Dodgers and has often been the closer the last month or so, rather than Jonathan Broxton, is that for a long time this year that they would not use him on consecutive days, and he had already worked the first 2 games of this series. And he's had 4 different arm surgeries, Hung-Chi Kuo, so they've been real careful in trying to keep him from hurting himself again.
I think that's been a problem for him as well, John. Even though Kuo has pitched well, he is not your typical closer who can go out there on a consistent basis. They have to protect him. And in doing that, you change Jonathan Broxton's role, but then every once in a while, like last night, he was supposed to be the closer. He was supposed to close the game out. And I think what has happened to him is what happened to Brad Lidge. He has lost his confidence for a time. He's going to have to get it back.
Very quick, quiet inning. Loney with the unassisted putout. Aubrey Huff grounding out on that splitter. A 6-pitch inning. Loney coming up. 1-0 Giants. Head into the last half of the 5th inning. The entire field, by the way, is covered in shadows now, including the hitter's backdrop, as Jonathan Sanchez throws a called strike to James Loney. Loney hit by a pitch his first time. So is this a much better time to be a hitter than it had been earlier, Joe?
Well, it's better, but it's still not ideal because the lights have not been able to take complete hold, and you're still got a little dust kind of situation here. It's better than it was, but you can see it's not bright out there.
0-2 the count to Loney. And Sanchez missed badly with that one. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Would you rather hit in a day game or a night game, Joe? Would you see the ball?
I liked hitting in the daytime because it's natural light. I could see the ball better. But after you play so many night games, you adjust to that and you get comfortable with it. But I still prefer. I used to love Sunday afternoons because you could see the ball better.
And the splitter is in the dirt. 2-2 the count to James Loney.
And I always felt like I'd rather pitch at night because I felt like if I kept the ball down, that you're only really seeing half the ball. The bottom of the ball is really being lit by reflection off the grass or the dirt. So there's kind of a shadow there. You keep the ball down as a sinker ball pitcher at night, and you feel like you really got a little bit of an advantage.
And then there's this 5 o'clock start.
That's guaranteed. You can't wait to pitch. 4 innings of pretty easy pitching if you can make your pitches pretty hard to hit.
2-2 to James Loney. Rod Barajas and Reed Johnson will follow the 6, 7, and 8 spots in the Dodgers batting order against Sanchez. Sanchez has allowed only 1 hit. The double along the right field line by Jamie Carroll with 2 out in the 3rd. Struck him out with the off-speed pitch. 6 strikeouts for Sanchez.
Dodger catcher number 28, Rod Barajas.
Well, the much-anticipated divorce proceeding between Dodgers owner Frank McCourt and his wife Jamie began in L.A. during this past week. If a community property ruling Mrs. McCourt's goal wins out, it has been speculated that Frank McCourt would likely have to sell the Dodgers to meet financial obligations of the divorce. McCourt purchased the team in 2004 for $430 million. And there's a strike to Rod Barajas. There was an L.A. Times investigative report this week that stated McCourt's Dodgers, and to quote the Times, a crushing financial burden of $620 million. Trial went into recess after the proceedings on Friday and will resume September 20th. That's ruled a swing on appeal by Dan Bellino, the first base umpire. 0-2 to Barajas, who grounded into an inning-ending double play in the 2nd.
I think it's very difficult when people divorce in the first place. It's a tough situation. But I think from Dodger fans' perspective, they're only wondering what's going to happen to the team.
Exactly.
Shallow center. That's a base hit. Off the end of the bat, and he dunks it in. 2nd hit for the Dodgers.
The effects of the divorce are just the uncertainty of the budget, uncertainty of the leadership of the franchise, and where does it go for Ned Colletti and the general manager? Will Joe Torre return or not? That answer's coming soon. And what will happen as far as the free agents? And this is an ongoing train, the business of baseball. It just doesn't stop, and you just don't sit around and wait for ownership to shake out or what the budget is. There's decisions all the time. Now, are we going to trade some young players and trust this core, or are we going to sign free agents? Are we going to offer arbitration to some players or let them go?
There's a called strike at the knees to Reed Johnson up on his blog at ESPN.com and the MLB Index. Buster Olney recounted how this past offseason and through spring training, every pitcher that was available, either as a free agent or rumored to be available in trade, it seemed like the Dodgers were never in the discussion. They finally traded for Ted Lilly just before the trading deadline. During the season, Buster also pointed out that Manny Ramirez, although there is deferred money that will have to be paid, that the Dodgers have some other contracts coming off the books. And even with the same payroll as this year, just holding the status quo, that they might have some money available to go out and go after some free agents. Speculation by Buster. 1-2 the count to Reed Johnson. There's Ned Colletti, general manager of the Dodgers. And
I think Ned has done a fine job since he's been here. He's established the organization as a consistent winner. Whatever money he's been given, I think he's spent in a very, very good way. He's got some big decisions ahead of him, including that man right there when he gives him an answer if he'd like to come back or not. With Kuroda and Padilla and Lilly are all possible free agents. You got to think about what are you going to do in your rotation.
2-2 now. Fastball missing badly. The pitcher Kuroda is on deck. 1 out, runner at first. 1-0. The Giants lead the Dodgers in the 5th inning.
Well, I think Ted Lilly is their best acquisition because he is a stud. I mean, I think Ted Lilly is one of the best pitchers in the league. And if they can keep him, at least they have a start in building a solid rotation, along with Kershaw and Billingsley.
He won each of his first 5 starts after coming to the Dodgers. He finally lost one last Sunday.
And he was ahead last night when he left. I guess it was 4-2.
His young Clayton Kershaw, who's got the great arm, still learning, but they think he's going to be an ace and could be a big-time ace for many years to come. 3-2 the count now to Reed Johnson.
Here's a big pitch for Sanchez on the mound. I mean, he goes to 2-2 with a fastball that's up almost over Buster Posey's head as his catcher that he has to reach up and grab. Now he comes back and 2-2 throws a ball almost from the dirt and spikes it. So he really doesn't have a feel where the strike zone is in the last 2 pitches, and this could really set it up at 3-2 for the Dodgers.
Barajas at first, not running. Torres back into deep center and right in front of the wall. Out number 2. Back to first goes Barajas.
Well, that's one of those little guys hit it because he got all of that one, and I don't think he can hit it out of here in center field. The ball doesn't carry well once the sun goes down, but I mean he gets all of this one straight away, and you can tell by the sound that he got all of it. And then you see Torres is able to run it down in center field.
Reed Johnson, it was his 152nd official at bat. He's hit only 1 home run. Kuroda gets a strike. Now, is Kuroda a threat to knock out a base hit here? Probably not very much.
Well, he's hot, though. He got 1 in his last game. He was 0 for 45, and then he got a base hit his last at bat in his previous game. Although he struck out in his first time in this ball game.
Had a hitting streak.
It's the first time I've heard Joe say a pitcher was hot at the plate.
Well, he was 0 for 45, and then he gets a base hit. I mean,
that makes you hot.
That makes him hot.
Only 19 Ks during that time.
Makes him hot.
So he struck out less than half of his at bats. Although it's starting to mount a little bit. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
You watch Sanchez's mechanics. I mean, I love this ultra slow-mo, and you see how the glove kind of drops down there below his waist. Sometimes when you get your glove away from the core of your body at release, it makes you inconsistent. When you can keep your glove in your upper body up above your belt and between your shoulders, it stabilizes you at release and allows you to be more accurate. When you drop it down around your hip and below your waist, you're really working with just eye-hand coordination and not as much stability, and that could be a little piece of his inconsistency.
Just a little bit low. And he's gone to a full count now to Hiroki Kuroda, who's had 1 hit in 47 at-bats this year. So that
I'd almost give him a take.
That issue about control is starting to become acute here for Sanchez. There's an actual real hitter on deck, Jamie Carroll.
As erratic as he's been, though, he hasn't walked anyone.
7 strikeouts.
He walked Casey Blake. You're right.
1 walk.
It's what we do.
Chavez Ravine, Dodger Stadium, home of the Dodgers beginning in 1962. I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan and Oral Hershiser. Sunday Night Baseball from the city of the Angels. And the Giants and Dodgers, the West Coast version of the Yankees and Red Sox. The Giants are leading 1-0 in the rubber match of this series as we start the 6th inning. And it's 0-1 to Pat Burrell, who has hit a comebacker and struck out against Kuroda. The only run of the game. Buster Posey drawing a walk. He was wild pitched to second. Singled to third, and Pablo Sandoval brought him home with a fly ball. And the splitter in the dirt from Kuroda. 1 ball, 1 strike. Kuroda had a 6-pitch 5th inning, getting the top of the Giants batting order just like that. There's Sandoval, who knocked in the only run of the game. Dodgers have only had 2 hits against Jonathan Sanchez, who's had 7 strikeouts in 5 innings. And it's 1-2 to Burrell. Kuroda, for his part, has struck out 6 in 5 innings.
He's done a great job mixing his pitches. The only pitch that's really gotten hit is his high fastball when he's tried to sneak it by some people.
From deep third, Burrell is not a fast runner, and Blake throws him out. 1 away. Let's go to the studio. Steve Berthiaume with a Sports Center right now. Nothing but problems for Ron Washington's Rangers, except for this. They went into play today with an 8-game lead in their division.
Well, the Yankees helped them by sweeping the Oakland A's, who were starting to make a move.
And they swept them in a 4-game series as Posey has a count of 1 ball and 1 strike. That was earlier in the week. The Yankees were beating everybody there for a while. The Yankees had won 8 in a row. Right to the second baseman, Ryan Theriot. Posey retired for the first time. He had walked and scored a run. He singled his last time. Gone here.
Well, we talked about what we can see with this ultra slow motion. You can see how, watch where this ball hits him on the barrel, on the bat, not down near. And you see that's a jam job. You see all the vibration there as he tries to swing it through. You can see his top hand actually was coming off the bat. He was losing his grip. That's almost like he knocked the bat out of his hands because his fingers started to come off.
Guillen with a pop-up. Loney in foul ground, and the inning is over. And after a 6-pitch 5th inning, an 8-pitch 6th inning for Kuroda. Hardly breaking a sweat right now. Top of the order coming up for the Dodgers. Thanks, Steve. Yeah, the Braves lost their game despite a stirring comeback in Florida, but finally they lost the game in the 10th inning to the Marlins, so it's still a one-game lead. Cody Ross takes over in left field for Pat Burrell. Bruce Bochy, Giants manager, likes to make a defensive move with Burrell, taking him out with the Giants leading. And here in the 6th inning, having just batted in the first half of the inning, Burrell is gone. Cody Ross, former Marlin, and before that, a former Dodger. Now in left field for the Giants. Jamie Carroll, the leadoff man for the Dodgers tonight, facing Jonathan Sanchez with a ball and a strike. He's had one of the Dodgers' 2 hits, a double, with 2 down in the 3rd inning. Carroll, Terrio, and Andre Ethier coming up. There's a changeup in there for a called strike.
One of the reasons that Jonathan Sanchez has a good opponent's batting average against him is because he does throw a lot of great pitches along with missing and being erratic. He keeps the hitters off balance because they don't know exactly what to expect. They may look for a fastball in, and it may be a fastball away. He may be trying to come in, but he misses away. He may be trying to go away, and he comes in. So he's a little tougher to read as a hitter than some of the other pitchers who are able to control their pitches inside, outside.
2-2 the count. The curve is fouled out of play. So even if they were peaking and they were getting tipped off on location, they still wouldn't know.
Yeah, but it's not even a matter of getting tipped off or peaking. Sometimes you anticipate. All right, he got me out with a fastball inside last time. So next time up, you may go looking for that fastball in, and he throws the pitch away. So, and he may have been trying to come in. I mean, he just misses across the plate a lot of times. So you can't get a true read on him as a hitter. I mean, if you're facing certain pitchers and they throw you a fastball in, and then they start you away with a fastball next time up, you figure they're coming back in with a fastball. Well, you can't do that with Jonathan Sanchez, and I think that's one of the reasons he's more difficult to hit.
One thing he's had going for him tonight, no Dodger leadoff man has gotten on base. So far, they've got a one-out walk in the 2nd to Casey Blake, and then Loney was hit by a pitch. Sanchez, in a jam there, got a double play ball from Barajas. Carroll hit a 2-out double in the 3rd, was stranded. Barajas, a 1-out single in the 5th. Nobody has started an inning and gotten on base against him.
And whether you're leading off or not, he's getting that first pitch strike. We saw that graphic at 17 out of 19 batters.
That's deep and foul down the left field line. Carroll gave one a long ride.
I think you're right, Joe. I think he throws a lot of quality pitches. I think his wildness comes in spurts. And when it comes in a spurt and you can't fix it quick enough, and then all of a sudden there's a rally, and you don't have a good feel then to make that quality pitch like you've seen so many of, he all of a sudden throws a bad one. Those hits that are rare against him are quality hits that drive in runs.
That was the 9th pitch of this battle between Sanchez and Carroll. Just before that, Carroll had hit that long foul ball, a foul ball home run. It's a pretty good shot for Carroll, considering he has not hit a home run in 316 official at-bats this year. Outfield straight away for him. 3-2 the count. Sanchez tries it again. Uribe backpedaling. Sanchez wins the duel, although it took him 10 pitches to do so.
Batting next, second baseman, number 13.
Still, through 6 innings, no Dodger has led off an inning by reaching base.
And he has 6 strikeouts, 7 strikeouts now, compared to the 1 walk.
But that is a little unusual. Sanchez has averaged about 4.5 walks per 9 innings in his career, and not much different this year. He had 77 walks in 157 and 2/3 innings before this game. Ryan Terrio has grounded a short and grounded a second. 1-0. The Dodgers trail the Giants, and they're trying to get on base. That's the idea for Carroll and Terrio in front of the big RBI guys, Ethier, Kemp, Blake. But none of those 3, Ethier, Kemp, or Blake, has batted with a man on base in this game yet. Matt Kemp in the hole with Ethier on deck. 1 out, nobody on. Just off the inside. 2-1. Ontario, who left the Cubs, a franchise in disarray, and came here to the Dodgers, and lo and behold, the Dodgers were in disarray. That's a base hit to right field for Ontario. And so Andre Ethier will come up with somebody on base for the first time tonight. The Dodgers, who are getting closer and closer to officially going nowhere this year. 8 games behind the Padres at the start of the day and in 4th place in the division. But a chance to gain ground on both the Giants and the Padres in front of them with a win tonight. And as Ramon Ramirez, a right-hander, starts to throw in the Giants bullpen, they know they go to San Diego next. So for the Dodgers, the need is now. The must-win is right now tonight and the next 3. Andre Ethier hitting .262 with nobody on, but .325 with 1 or more runners out there. He's got a runner out there here. Ryan Ontario.
Jonathan Sanchez, I looked at his stats. In 13 of his last 27 games, the Giants have scored 2 runs or less. And he's 0-8 in that span. And, I mean, he's in another tough battle tonight. So it tells me that he's had to pitch in a lot of tough situations. And his earned run average is only 4.01 in that stretch. So he hasn't pitched poorly. They're just not scoring runs for him. And he's in another battle tonight.
Half of his starts, 2 runs or less of support.
Yeah, that's tough. And like I say, he's 0-8 in those 13 starts.
He had a 1-0 lead in his last start Monday against Colorado, but he walked the leadoff hitter in the 9th inning after getting ahead of him 0-2, and then he was not close with the next 4 pitches.
Yeah, but how many people pitch the 9th inning now when they have a 1-0 lead?
Well, he has very rarely pitched in the 9th inning.
Right.
But the Giants had only given him 1 run of support. Right. He was ahead 1-0 when he left with that runner on. And funny things can happen in baseball, and there was a broken back. Carlos Gonzalez, the young slugger for the Rockies, his back snapped in 2. Cody Ross was in right field. He saw the bat snap in 2. He thought pop fly. He came running in, and the ball sailed well over his head and went for a triple. The relay throw to third, trying to get Gonzalez, hit Gonzalez in the arm, ricocheted into the stands. He scored 2-1 Colorado, and that was the final score. Andre Ethier, not this time. He is 0 for 3. Twice Sanchez has struck him out.
Number 27, Matt Kemp.
2 down, and Matt Kemp comes up.
Let's take a look at Ethier's swing here in super slow motion. This was a high breaking ball. He looks like he's trying to keep the barrel of the bat up. Did you see that? See how the barrel dropped? We were talking about how other hitters we showed you were making contact was more level through the hitting zone. That is that uppercut right there. And you can see that there was only one spot he could have made contact. He missed it there. The ball didn't arrive there at the same time, so he swings underneath it.
Sanchez with the strikeout on the high fastball. He's got 8 strikeouts. He averages more than a strikeout per inning. Matt Kemp, who has struck out twice in this game, lays off the high fastball. But now the visibility is better. Maybe not ideal, as you pointed out, Joe. But the shadows are gone. Lights have not taken full effect in the twilight. And Kemp has had a history of doing damage against Jonathan Sanchez. Ryan Terrio, the runner at first. Terrio has some speed. 18 steals this year, although caught 9 times. And Kemp chased that high fastball to the inner half, did not get it.
Well, that's where wildness, if you would say that's wild, I don't think that's wild. That's just effectively making a good pitch. It was a ball, it was up, but it was planned, and that was another quality pitch by Sanchez. Especially when you have a guy at the plate who's hit you well, you want to make those borderline pitches to key spots.
Kemp asking for time, backs away. Sanchez steps off the slab. Matt Kemp, 409 lifetime average against Sanchez. In too tight. 2-1 the count. Sanchez has thrown 97 pitches now. He had 21 of them in the 5th inning and 20 more so far here in the 6th. So the pitch count rising. Remember, in this inning, Jamie Carroll led off and he went out, but he made Sanchez throw 10 pitches. The splitter in the dirt on a 2-1 count.
Well, that's a guy being overly anxious because he has had some success against Sanchez. 2-1, he's looking dead red fastball, and he gets another pitch and he chases it. I mean, he's looking for a fastball, and he just swings at it like it's a fastball, and obviously it's an off-speed pitch. As we talked about, I guess it's the split that acts like a changeup.
2-2 the count to Kemp. Casey Blake would be next. And foul. Sandoval over near the foul line for Kemp in any event. 2-2 the count. Each time Sanchez has thrown a pitch, by the way, Ryan Theriot is the possible tying run at first. He has some speed, but he is stepping back toward first every time Sanchez throws a pitch to the plate.
That pitch was one of those situations we're talking about. If he was had good control, knew what he was doing, he's going to throw a high fastball there after he'd swung at the ball in the dirt, but he'd still got the fastball down. That's why I say a lot of times he may be aiming to do one thing, but it's not happening on a consistent basis. But, you know, I think he's pitched a wonderful game tonight. He's been in complete control. He's taken some counts to 3-2, but he has really been able to keep these hitters off balance.
Facing a team that he has never beaten. The Dodgers, the rivals. There goes Theriot. Strike 3 called. Posey made the throw. It did not matter. No call needed at second base. The inning had already ended. 9 strikeouts for Sanchez in 6 innings. 1-0. The Giants over the Dodgers. Top of the 7th inning. Pablo Sandoval, the young third baseman for the Giants, leads off against Hiroki Kuroda. Sandoval off the end of the bat. Shadow left. That's a base hit right along the line. Reed Johnson gets it back in, and Sandoval has his second straight hit. He hit a double into the gap in left center in the 4th inning and hit a sacrifice fly in the 2nd that knocked in the only run of the game up till now.
Every pitch that he has hit tonight has been up in the strike zone or above the strike zone. Here it is again, but see how he keeps the barrel of the bat there where the ball is, and he hits it right off the end of the bat, shatters the bat, but bat breaks, but it's right down the left field line for a base hit. And the other balls he hit were all up as well. They were over the plate a little bit more, and he made a little more solid contact.
This Ultra Move, it's the best idea you and Oral have had. That's out of play off the bat of Juan Uribe. The first pitch that he's had a chance to swing because they've been walking him intentionally. First 2 times he came up with 2 down. There was a runner at second, and they went ahead and gave him the free pass to go after Jonathan Sanchez. Last night, Uribe is the man who hit the dramatic home run in the 9th inning with the Giants trailing 4-3 that put them ahead 5-4, which was the final. And another foul out of play. Juan Uribe batting against Jonathan Broxton with Cody Ross at first base. And he knew it was gone. His 18th home run of the year, up into the pavilion, way out there in deep right center. And the celebration began in the Giants dugout. Giants hit 4 home runs last night from the 7th inning on. First time since 1982 that a Giants team had done that. And when you go back into the history of the Giants, they've had a lot of home run sluggers back to the days of Mays, McCovey, and Cepeda. Right up to Barry Bonds more recently.
Matt Williams.
But Will Clark was an outstanding hitter who hit the long ball as well. That's off his foot, a foul ball. 1-2 the count.
Jeffrey Leonard, Kevin Mitchell.
This current Giants ball club, they got a little more thump than they've had with some of the moves made by Brian Sabian. But they're still not a club that you expected to hit 4 home runs in the last 3 innings in a night game at Dodger Stadium. So it was Buster Posey who hit the first of them, and it was a big fly out into left center. And then Renteria, just back from the disabled list, his first start since nearly a month ago. And he hit a home run. Burrell hit a home run, and finally down by a run. Uribe went deep.
You credit the Giants hitters, but also the Dodgers bullpen after the 8th inning has not been very good. They had 6 losses after the 8th, which leads the National League.
That ball is hit deep. Down the line. If it's fair, it is a home run. Fair ball. Uribe with his second home run in as many at-bats going back to last night. They walked him intentionally twice tonight. The first time that Kuroda pitches to him, and Uribe takes him out of the yard. His 19th home run this year.
Well, 2 pitches that have been hit, both of them were up. And Kuroda. The first pitch was up to Sandoval. He got a base hit. Now this pitch is up, and Uribe just pulls it right down the line. It's the shortest point in this ballpark.
.330 feet to the left field foul pole. Now Sanchez, and that is a fastball for a called strike.
Well, you can see this pitch is up. Little breaking ball, doesn't do a lot. And he hit a slider for a home run off Broxton last night, and now this one's has a little more of a hump in it, a little slower than Broxton's. And Kuroda throws the same pitch. He pulls it down the line for a home run.
Yeah, Broxton's kind of backed up on him, was on the inner half low, and that ball got away to the outer half, but was still up and wasn't doing a whole lot, just kind of hanging there.
All right, so scouting report on Uribe. don't throw him a hanging slider?
Well, I don't think you throw any hitter a hanging slider, but obviously he's not missing them. That's the key.
That's my little joke, Joe.
Yeah, he's not missing them.
But now that's Dave Gresham, the Giants' head trainer, with Uribe. Sanchez thrown out by Terrio, the first out of the 7th inning. George Sherrill, a left-hander, up in the Dodgers bullpen.
Well, we talked about Uribe. He's very aggressive. That's what I like about him as a hitter. But you can see he gets out in front. You can see he's way out in front. He's fooled on the pitch. You can see he's extending to keep the barrel level as long as he can. And that's why he was able to handle that off-speed pitch, because it did fool him speed-wise. He was a little bit out in front of it. But you can see the angle of the bat was out in front. He hit that ball right out in front of the plate.
Andres Torres, the leadoff man, mired in a slump. He's 0 for 3 tonight. Only 4 hits in his last 32 at-bats now. 1 for 19 going back to Monday's game. Torres has been a key man for the Giants. A guy who has been a journeyman up and down between the majors and minors year after year. And he's found a home with the Giants, and the more he played, the more they said, well, he's got to play. He's been playing center field over Aaron Rowan, to whom they gave a big contract.
Well, he had a .210 lifetime average in the American League. So he's a National League kind of player. He's come into the National League and he's swinging the bat very well.
Well, even in the National League, he never really was given much of a look-see until this year. Andres Torres, 32 years old. He hit well for the Giants last year, the little he played. He had 152 at-bats last year, but he was a platoon guy. And ironically, because this year, the first year he's become a regular player, his strong side has been the left side. Last year, he only was used as a right-handed batter, more or less. He was very weak as a left-handed hitter, but did very well batting right-handed. That splitter. Terrio from right field. He got him! Nice play by Terrio, and a nice pick at first base by the soft hands of James Loney.
That was an excellent play, as you mentioned, by Terrio. I think he had more time than he realized, because he caught it going toward the line. Now he jumps in the air and throws it. He didn't even get a chance to look. But see, if he turns, he may have had a little better chance of making a good throw. Right here, if he tries to turn, but he decided he was going to jump, get rid of it, and as you mentioned, nice play there by Loney as well.
Looks like he tried to spike that ball almost on purpose, as bad as that throw was. Look, he just, I'm going to throw right in the ground and get it there.
Well, Loney is one of those first basemen. He'll save an infielder a lot of errors.
Yeah, he's sweet over there.
2 down, and here is Fontenot. And to his old buddy, Terrio. Each has thrown out the other tonight. But the Giants get 2 runs here in the 7th inning. Juan Uribe, who had the game-winning home run in the 9th inning last night, extends the Giants' lead with this swing in the 7th inning tonight. 3-0 Giants as we go to the last of the 7th. October continuing on Wednesday night with a doubleheader at 7 Eastern. Evan Longoria and the Tampa Bay Rays up against David Ortiz and the Red Sox from Fenway. Then at 10 Eastern, Andre Ethier and the Dodgers up against Adrian Gonzalez and the struggling Padres. Wednesday Night Baseball is part of the Hunt for October, presented by Lee Jeans on ESPN and ESPN3.com. And this is ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell. I'm John Miller with Hall of Famer Joe Morgan and Dodger great, formerly Oral Hershiser. Nice to have you back, Bulldog.
Nice to be back.
You were at the Little League World Series?
We did about 15 games in 12 days. At least my crew did.
Now that crew, those games must be a lot tougher to do than ours. I mean, look at you. You look like you're hardly still alive in there.
I'm doing okay. I'll tell you what. I'm glad there's 6 innings.
He comes back to us on Sunday Night. He's all beat up. Here is Casey Blake, and he takes a called strike. 0-1. Casey Blake, James Loney, Rod Barajas coming up against Jonathan Sanchez, who just threw his 101st pitch of the night. That is a called strike with his splitter at the knees. The Giants bullpen is working so that if Sanchez runs into any trouble in this inning, the bullpen will be ready to back him up. Dodgers have only 3 hits against Sanchez. Up the middle, Fontenot. He got him.
Now, to pitch at the big league level or at any level, it takes a lot of strength. You are putting a lot into every pitch. Look at Kuroda's effort. Actually, the eyes are closing, the strain in the neck, just the physicality of it. Look at the pronation of the arm that turns inside. No matter what pitch you throw, your arm is going to turn like it's a screwball because just the way your arm slows itself down, the way the muscles fire. But you have to exert all that effort, and then you have to stabilize it and throw it accurately.
Kuroda and Sanchez. They may have some empathy for each other, even though one's a Dodger and one's a Giant. And they're going head-to-head tonight because both of them have at times suffered with a lack of run support, particularly acute tonight for Kuroda, thanks to Sanchez. But as Joe mentioned, although the Giants overall, their average runs per game, very high for Sanchez. On average, he's the best supported of all the Giants pitchers this year. But in half of his starts, the Giants have scored 2 runs or less on his behalf.
And that's where his 8 losses come in. He's 0-8 in those situations. So some of those losses you can pin on him are not his fault. They're from the opposition pitching better.
So he's 9-8. I'm trying to put this together now. That means if they get 3 runs or more, he's 9-0.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Well, 14. Remember, there's 13 of 27 games.
Aubrey Huff. James Loney got number 2. Loney is 0 for 2. Got hit by a pitch his first time.
And as I said before, he's pitching a beautiful game as far as I'm concerned. He's getting hitters to chase the fastball up in the strike zone and then the breaking ball. He's going to get he's got everything working, but the key is that he gets some chasing pitches out of the strike zone. And especially when he gets 2 strikes, he's changing their eye level with the fastball up and the slurve or breaking ball down. So, I mean, I just like what I've seen from him tonight. He's pitched just a beautiful game as far as I'm concerned. He's gone to 3-2 on some hitters, but he continues to throw strikes on 3-2. Only the 1 walk to Casey Blake early in the ball game.
If you were scouting this game, and we've seen more than this game, but just this game, you'd say Cy Young type stuff. I mean, this is really electric stuff that he has found his way through the lineup, but he's commanded the game very, very well.
Well, you can see why he was able to pitch a no-hitter, because it's very difficult to get a hit off of him.
Pitched a no-hitter last year against the San Diego Padres after he had been temporarily removed from the rotation because he'd been so ineffective. And he got the start against the Padres that belonged to Randy Johnson, who was a Giant last year. And Johnson got hurt. Sanchez was the replacement for the big unit. And then went out and looked like the big unit. No hit the Padres.
Well, sometimes it takes some guys longer to find their groove than others. You know, Tim Lincecum, right away, he became a star, and you knew he was a star. But some other pitchers and other players, it takes a while. Lincecum struggled until his last outing as well.
Lincecum has won 2 consecutive Cy Young Awards in his first 2 full seasons as a big leaguer. Unprecedented in Major League history. But he has struggled big time this year. As you say, Joe, he had a 5-game losing streak in the month of August and won in his first start in September. That's a 3-up and 3-down inning. Barajas fouls out to Huff. 7 strong from Jonathan Sanchez. We head to the 8th. Huff, Ross, and Posey coming up.
Is presented by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And in part by Toshiba. Toshiba, leading innovation.
Dusk in the city of the Angels. The Giants lead the Dodgers 3-0 as we head to the 8th inning. The big hit is coming up here for the Giants, starting with Aubrey Huff, their home run and RBI leader. Kuroda's 100th pitch of the night is a curveball in there for a strike.
John, I think the Giants got a little lucky because, Aubrey Huff has been their RBI leader, home run leader, as you mentioned. But remember, they tried to sign Nick Johnson in the offseason. Remember, they tried to sign him first, and he decided to go to the Yankees. So the Giants were able to get Aubrey Huff, and he has been just, unbelievably good for them. And Nick Johnson, as we know, has missed most of the season. That may not have happened in San Francisco, of course, but I think they got lucky in that they got Aubrey Huff.
And I suppose you could say the same about Aubrey Huff as he swung at that splitter in the dirt. Is tagged out by Barajas, and Huff is 1 for 4. He had a double back in the 3rd inning. 1 away. Kuroda has thrown 102 pitches so far tonight. He's thrown as many as 115 this year, so pitch count is very manageable. There's Ronald Belisario, a right-hander, getting ready in the Dodger bullpen if needed. Cody Ross up for the first time. 3-0. The Giants lead the Dodgers here in the 8th. 1 ball to no strikes.
Well, Kuroda is the second hitter in the Dodger half of this inning, so that's why he's trying to keep him out there and hope he can get through there this inning.
Buster Posey on deck. And again, too high. 2-0. Now the Giants ended up getting Aubrey Huff. It was the only offer he got in the offseason. He had his worst year in the big leagues last year with Baltimore and Detroit. Ended up being a platoon guy when he got traded to Detroit. Sergio Romo up in the Giants bullpen. Ross fouls this one off to the left. and back into the crowd.
Some of the best trades are the ones you don't make, and some of the best signings are the ones that you couldn't sign. Happened to come true here.
But Aubrey Huff went to spring training with a reputation of being a DH. Not very good at first base. And he did not look good at first base in the early Cactus League games. So he went out on the extra field early every morning and took ground balls. Sometimes half hour, sometimes 20 minutes, but he did it every day and worked hard at it. And by the end of the spring, vastly improved. And Aubrey Huff became a more than just passable first baseman for the Giants. They were very happy with him. But then they weren't hitting the ball well, trying to get a little more pop in the lineup. And they said one day to Aubrey Huff, could you play left field? He says, I'm an excellent left fielder. And so they put him in left field, and he sent Bruce Bochy a text, and he said, tonight we find out who the best athlete on this club is. And it was this little joke as Cody Ross strikes out, but he did well in left field. Later they got Pat Burrell. They signed Burrell, who's a left fielder. And when they wanted a little more offense in there, they said to Huff, they said, you think you could play right field? And he went out and played right field. So he's been a regular first baseman nominally, but also has played both left and right fields for the Giants as well. Here's Buster Posey. And although Posey has been so good, he got the National League Player of the Month for July and the National League Rookie of the Month for the same month. If you ask, I think, people in the Giants clubhouse, they say, well, the most valuable player, though, all around has been Aubrey Huff.
And who'd have thought that Aubrey Huff would make your roster flexible? That you all of a sudden would have somebody that could play three positions, play them well enough that you're willing to put him out there in a starting role no matter what, and keep your offense from churning.
0-2 the count to Buster Posey, who has walked, singled, and lined out to second. And a foul off the right field line. Aubrey Huff also has been basking in the excitement of the pennant race. He has never experienced that before. Not only has he never been in a postseason before, he had never been in a pennant race before. Had never gone post All-Star break with a team that was in a pennant race. Aubrey Huff, third among active players without going into a postseason for games played. Randy Wynn, a former Giant, now with the Cardinals, and Michael Young with the Rangers. Ahead of him on that list, the splitter in the dirt to Posey. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And Aubrey Huff has gotten to turn back the clock to his University of Miami teammate Pat Burrell to find out what it's like to play in that pennant race.
John, one of the things that's impressive about Posey, we're talking about how good he is. He's actually 9 for his last 40, but he's always coming through in the clutch. I think that's what keeps you from noticing that he's actually in a slump, so to speak.
His average has been going down lately,
but he's been getting big hits.
But he's been leading the club in RBIs during that time. 3-0 Giants, last of the 8th coming up. Stand Up to Cancer. Visit standuptocancer.org to learn how you can help them in the fight against cancer. From Dodger Stadium in sunshiny Southern California. What a day it was here in Southern California as we move into evening. And a native of this area who grew up a Dodger fan, Sergio Romo, takes the mound for the Giants in relief of Jonathan Sanchez, who pitched 7 shutout innings. Scott Posednik is the pinch hitter for Reed Johnson starting the inning, and Rafael Furcal has gone out into the on-deck circle. Posednik hooks that one right to Fontenot, and there is one away. The Giants also have a new shortstop in the game. The veteran Edgar Renteria on for Juan Uribe. Remember, we saw Uribe after his home run with the trainer, Dave Greshner, in the Giants dugout. And I'm thinking that something must have happened to Uribe, because this is not a move that the Giants normally would make. So here is Furcal. Furcal, a switch hitter. And he has been tough on the Giants ever since becoming a member of the Dodgers. A .324 average against the Giants as a Dodger. One out, nobody out here in the 8th inning. And Oral, you talked about Jonathan Sanchez and his inconsistency. Tonight, making a start after a very strong outing last Monday, but again strong in this one.
Well, he was fantastic tonight. Joe pointed out so well that he had the high fastball working on the chase pitch, and he also had the low breaking ball. And really, we only saw him have one little blip on the screen that he was able to bail himself out of. And Kuroda has gone pitch for pitch with him, but just high fastballs that got Kuroda in trouble. And Sanchez has been the one who has made fewer mistakes and ended up with the shutout so far. Kuroda, the base hit up the middle by Guillen on a high fastball, and then the hanging slider that ended up being the 2-run job by Uribe.
And that is back out of play. And the Giants have been in this period where their starting pitching has been in a slump as a group. And right now, Jonathan Sanchez is at the top of that list. 2 straight very strong starts. 3 out of his last 4 have been very strong. So a lot of encouragement, I think, for the Giants coming from Jonathan Sanchez.
Well, we opened the broadcast talking about how he had not backed up quality starts other than his 2nd and 3rd outings of the year, and this being his 28th start. That's a long time to go back-to-back quality starts. So you think about him down a pennant stretch. If he can put it together for Bruce Bochy and the San Francisco Giants, it would really help not only stabilize the rotation, but really lift it to a premium level.
The rotation was in such a slump that a week ago Sunday, or in fact a week ago today, is Furcal is down on strikes. Romo puts him away. 2 men down. The Giants had a meeting with the starting pitchers in Bruce Bochy's office. It included General Manager Brian Sabean. This was the report. And Brian Sabean did most of the talking. And it was not saying, hey, you guys are just going to be fine, don't worry about it. It was more of a challenge to them. They got 4 consecutive quality starts after that meeting, and another tonight from Jonathan Sanchez. Jamie Carroll with 2 down and nobody on. The Lee Jeans hunt for October takes a look at some of the action coming up this week. The Giants, of course, move on to Arizona. Then they've got their big showdown with the Padres starting Thursday in San Diego. The Dodgers go to San Diego and start a series tomorrow. The Red Sox now in very similar position to the Dodgers. They are hanging by a slender thread in the wild card race in the American League. And the Rays, the leaders in the wild card, by 7.5 over the Red Sox, open a 3-game series at Fenway tomorrow. Cardinals and Braves will be meeting later on Thursday. The Cardinals trying to get back into the wild card in the National League. A very strong inning for Sergio Romo. On to the 9th inning. It is 3-0, the Giants over the Dodgers. This afternoon down in San Diego, the Padres were beaten again by Colorado. The Rockies swept them at Petco Park over the weekend, and the Padres have lost 10 in a row. If the Giants hold this lead, the Giants will be only one game out as they leave L.A. Ronald Belisario, the new pitcher, and Scott Posednik, to pinch hit for Reed Johnson, stays in to play left field for the Dodgers. And here is Jose Guillen against Belisario. Guillen 1 for 3. Jamie Carroll at short. Guillen not running well. 1 away. And here comes Pablo Sandoval. By the way, we wondered about Juan Uribe, who hit the big 2-run homer in the 7th inning. And this was the pitch before he hit the home run. And look where this one hit him.
Well, what happens there, that's why you see a lot of hitters wear those modified shin guards on that left front, on their front leg, because a lot of times a ball inside, you'll hit down on it and it'll hit off your shin. And that can be very painful for a long period of time.
Pablo Sandoval now, who has hit a sacrifice fly, has doubled and has singled. He's singled just ahead of Uribe's home run in the 7th. 3-0, the Giants lead here in the 9th. And there's one of those shin guards you're talking about, Joe.
You see, they take a catcher's shin guard and modify it. Obviously, it doesn't come up over the knee. They cut it off right there, and it protects your shin.
Jamie Carroll, nice pickup. 2 down.
I'm sure the next time you see Uribe play, he will have one on.
Monday night, a season-defining game, perhaps, for 2 top 10 teams. 3rd-ranked Boise State, the Broncos, up against 10th-ranked Virginia Tech, the Hokies. The all-state kickoff in the Capitol as part of Dick's Sporting Goods Kickoff Week on ESPN, Monday at 8 Eastern. That's tomorrow night, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. So here is Edgar Renteria. Edgar hit a home run last night, too, for the Giants. His first start in nearly a month's time. He led off the 8th inning against Ted Lilly with the score 4-1 Dodgers, and he hit a home run. And he hit it to a very similar spot to where Uribe hit his tonight, right down the left field line. Renteria has had a season filled with injuries. This is only his 63rd game of the year. The Giants closer, Brian Wilson, who leads the league with 39 saves, getting ready in the bullpen. Pitcher spot due up next, meanwhile. And Nate Scherholtz has come out on deck for the Giants should Renteria keep this inning going. And the fastball inside. This game, Giants haven't had many games like this in the last month. This was sort of the plan, though.
Great starting pitching.
If they get a little, just enough runs, the starting pitching would be great.
Well, they had an earned run average of 4.5, over 4.5 for the whole month. So they did struggle. And you mentioned Lincecum went 0-5 in the month of August.
And his worst losing streak as a major league pitcher. Giants 1.5 back of the Padres at the moment. Padres losing today to the Colorado Rockies. We can't say unprecedented, but as a first place team to have a 10-game losing streak this time of year, that is sort of something you never would have foreseen. The only other time it ever happened was in 1932.
It was a Pirate team. And if they were out of first place, it would be officially called a collapse. But to think that they're hanging on by one game, if the Giants hang on to this game, then it's not a collapse until you fall out.
3-2 the count to Renteria. Got jammed. There is Jamie Carroll. And he got 3 straight ground balls and threw out 3 straight Giants. Wilson will enter the game. The Dodgers have some big hitters. Terrio, then the power, Ethier and Kemp. They are 3 runs down. Pablo Sandoval had a base hit, hitting one right off the end of the bat. Jonathan Sanchez, he worked hard and successfully. And the Dodgers did not make much solid contact. And this ended up being a 2-run homer by Juan Uribe. A hanging slider up and away from him, and he hooked it down the left field line. Now Brian Wilson, the hard-throwing right-hander, trying to finish up a win for Jonathan Sanchez, which would be very significant for Sanchez personally, because he has never beaten the Dodgers. And that's got to be one of the worst, Oral. The team you have never beaten is the arch rival?
Arch rival, yes. Especially, you're not only in a personal losing streak, you're in a losing streak that affects everybody emotionally. It's not just one game. It feels like a bigger game than just one game when you lose those games.
Back on August 1st on Sunday Night Baseball, Matt Cain, who had never beaten the Dodgers, did it for the first time. He worked 7 2/3 scoreless innings in that game in San Francisco. Sanchez 7 scoreless here. 96 miles an hour with a fastball up and away. 1-2 to Ryan Theriot, Ethier and Kemp to follow. Travis Ishikawa now at first base for the Giants. Nate Scherholtz in right field. Huff and Guillen from first and right, respectively, out of the game. Defensive maneuvers by Bruce Bochy. Strike 3 call to the outside corner. Theriot thought it was a little bit too far outside.
John, I want to take a quick moment here and send my condolences and our condolences to the family of Satch Davidson, longtime umpire, who passed away recently and was one of the nicest guys you're ever going to meet. And I always got a chance to see him whenever we went to Houston. He'd always show up at the ballpark. So our condolences to his family.
A great umpire.
Yeah.
And Satch Davidson was the home plate umpire for that famous Game 6 in the 1975 World Series, the game Carlton Fisk hit the home run off the left field foul pole to end one of the great World Series games of all time. 1 no strikes to Andre Ethier. Giants pitchers as a group have struck out 12 Dodgers in this one. Sanchez had 9 in 7 innings. Romo struck out 2 of the 3 he faced in the 8th inning. Wilson gets one here. Ethier has struck out twice and flied out to right once. Dodgers have been shut out all too many times this year, more than any other team in the majors. And they are 2 outs away from being shut out again.
Well, that's what Joe Torre told us in our conversation, that he had to say the offense has let them down the second half because the starting pitching has been pretty good. And right now we can see that Kuroda pitched pretty well in tonight's ball game.
Andre Ethier down on strikes for the 3rd time. Our Chevrolet player of the game, Giants left-hander, the often enigmatic but often almost impossible to hit, Jonathan Sanchez.
He was absolutely outstanding. He had his command. You see only the 1 walk. He had 1 hit batter, 9 Ks because of the electric stuff, and it was around the plate. And when he wanted to make a pitch, it seemed like he could pull it out of his holster anytime he wanted.
And strike 1 to Matt Kemp. Such has been the domination of the Dodgers lineup tonight. The third base hitter, Ethier, 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts. The cleanup hitter, Matt Kemp, 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts as well. And he has never done anything against Brian Wilson. And Fontenot with a diving catch. The game is over. The Giants win the rubber match from the Dodgers, and they are now 1 game back of the San Diego Padres. 9 games ago, the Giants were 6.5 out. And they are heading off to Arizona for 3, and then their big showdown at Petco Park with the Padres starts on Thursday.
But they still have to find a way to beat the Padres. Let's take a look at this final play of the ballgame. This is what second basemen do best. They go into short right field, make a dive, and he comes up with it. Ball game over. This is a nice play there by. Look how he keeps his eyes right on the ball.
That reminded me of a play I once saw Joe Morgan make.
I can't I can't remember.
So, the plot thickens in the National League West. The Padres now by just 1 over the Giants. And don't look now, but the Rockies are right there. Only 4.5 out. But for the Dodgers, it's just not happening. Post Mannywood here at Dodger Stadium. And the Dodgers beaten by their arch rivals, the Giants, 2 out of 3. 3-0 the final tonight. Jonathan Sanchez now has a win against the Dodgers. Up next on ESPN2, Sports Center. Stay tuned for that. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. We hope you'll join us next Sunday. The Cardinals and the Braves from Atlanta, 8 o'clock Eastern. For Joe Morgan, Oral Hershiser, and our entire ESPN